Welcome back. Hey, Technical Brad here. All right, so obviously we've split our tractor in half here. Initial inspection, I mean, we don't really have a whole bunch of oil coming out of our piece here. I thought that perhaps we would be able to see oil that was coming out from the two shafts there, the clutch drive shaft there, the cardan shaft. It doesn't appear to be there's much oil coming out of that. And as we look inside the clutch itself, yeah, there doesn't appear even to be any oil inside there. Now we'll know once we take the clutch apart. Another thing, there doesn't seem to be oil around the base of it here. So as we look all around our edge here of the flywheel, all the way around it, I mean, it's even rusted a little bit. So I would think that if oil was running in through here, which is basically where we'd have to come in, the two shafts go in there into the splines. If oil was coming through there, you'd have oil coming out somewhere, you would think. We do have oil obviously in the housing here. It is black oil, which would indicate engine oil to me, more so than the hydraulic oil, which is more, it's a little brown, but I mean, after 280 hours, a little bit of wear on it, but it's not black. To where your engine oil, of course, pretty much as soon as you fire the thing up, it turns black. So anyway, we're gonna have to pop the clutch apart here and see what's going on inside of that. As far as this thing goes, I do want to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and put the seal on it, which the seal will be back, back in this end, however far back that goes. My thought is, this is your carrier here, and of course this is what the clutch pedal operates with, your bearing there that makes contact with the front cover. I think we're going to pop these circlips off, and we're going to try to draw this thing out off the front, off of the cardan shaft, and that way we don't have to remove the PTO unit to slide this thing out to get this whole thing out. So I'm hoping that we can just do that and it'll slide out, from the bearing here and slide all the way out of our shaft there. That's my hope anyway. So we'll do that when we come back. What we want to do, slide that clip back. Now that allows that to slide. Okay. I think our band brake is going to be in our way here, I think. We can get this off. Remove our washer, pull our pin out, and then that will just hinge out of our way. Maneuver that back. actually all the way off, like so. And then that'll sit on there. And we got this one here for our drum. What I'll try to do is expand it now that everything's all oily. I get him? I think I got him, didn't I? Yeah, I did. All right. Tell you, these things, yeah, these things are tough, man. Really tough. Okay, number 2. Now our brake drum will slide off of that. And we got down here to number 3. Where's the beginning of it? Right there. And let's okay. Whew. And we have that one. So we want to go ahead and take this one on off too. See if we can pull our shaft out a little farther so that we have room to slide all this stuff off of here. Oh yeah, there we are. And slide that one off. Turn that around. Get a hold of this one if we can. And slide it off. Look at that. All right. And voila, we've got it out. Now, the interesting thing, that's got like a scroll return on there, very similar, right here, very, very similar to what the original engine had, the seal on the rear main of the engine. So that leads me to believe that that is designed to keep oil flowing back in from the outside. But the issue we have is on the inside here. This is where the seal goes, down in here. And so we'll get this over to the bench and get set up and go from there. All right, so we have our main drive shaft here for the clutch. And when I measured the cardan shaft, it came in at 1 inch and 123 thousandths, so it's 1 1/8 diameter. Measuring this, it came in at 1 inch, roughly about 1 3/16 there again, give or take a couple thousandths. So you've got a 1/16 of an inch clearance between the two shafts, the inner diameter of this and the outer diameter of the cardan shaft. We have our 2 seals. This is the original felt seal, number 89333. I just located this, gosh, middle of summer, a couple months ago. I found it up in Rochester. about 2 hours north of us here, at a New Holland dealership, had this old stock. We also picked up the quad seal, they're calling it. This one you can get from Barkley Williams. It is a rubber seal. And of course, this is the felt seal. First thing we're going to do is take the original seal out of here. I don't know if we can. It is soaked in oil. And it's a lot more difficult to get it out than an O-ring. But as long as I'm committed, there we go. And that's it. So, as we look at this one, let me get this bag open. Ziploc bags and oily hands. We're quite a bit thinner on this new one versus the old one. Now, there again, this one, as we can see through there, the felt seal is thicker than what this quad seal, they're calling it, is. But if we fit it in there, then it does have room to move in there in that slot. It's not as wide as what the slot is in there. I'll just seat it. I'll just seat it at the back of the groove here with my fingernails, like so. And we'll give ourselves a measurement here. If I can. My fingers are all oily. And that's probably coming in. That's coming in about the 125, isn't it? That's less. So that's coming in at lesser diameter than what our measurement on the cardan shaft is. You know, and I tell you, all the trouble we've had with O-rings and seals that we have replaced on Brownie, God, I'm almost half tempted to use the felt washer. But it's so difficult to get to the darn thing that, I don't know. We're going to think about that for a minute, and then we will come back. Okay, so I've been farting around with this felt washer about as long as I care to. So I don't think I'm going to use that. That's pretty difficult to try to get that thing into the groove. We're going to go with the quad seal. There again, this is from Barkley Williams. I contacted Barry, Man from the Mist channel, and he's the one that gave me the info on this. He's got a video where he installed his in his 990. And so he gave me the info on Barkley Williams, how to get it. Thank you very much, Barry. I really appreciate that. And this is a comparison between the two that we have here. And as we see, the felt is a lot thicker and a larger diameter. And it's not fitting in that groove very well. I suppose these probably had to be soaked. I would guess you'd have to soak this in oil to get it to fit in there properly. That's our original one. I took this over to the shaft, the cardan shaft, and it fits very loosely on there. This does fit tight on there. I actually didn't try this one. All right, so this is the felt washer onto our cardan shaft. And we slide that up on there. It fits really tight on there, very snug. And this, of course, is the quad seal, and it fits. It has a tight fit to it as well. Now it's going to be a lot tighter once we have it in the actual drive shaft. This one will be too. I'm going to go ahead. We'll go ahead with the quad seal here, and we'll just put the felt washer back in the drawer with all the other parts. Okay, so I'm going to use some, it's the red and tacky grease. It's the extreme pressure grease with the anti-seize formula in it. And I'm going to use just a 3/4 inch paintbrush. And what I'm going to do now, I clean this up. We got the groove cleaned out. I'm going to go ahead and put some grease in here a little bit. The paintbrush works really well with the grease. You don't get it all over you, using your hand and whatnot. And we're going to take our quad seal and we're going to start it into the groove. Like so. Using both hands because it's extremely slippery now. Okay, I did go ahead and clean this up. Poured some gasoline down through it to clean him up and take some of the corrosion out of it. Had a little bit of, it wasn't rust, it's just dirty oil. We'll give this a good coat of grease in here. Welcome back. Okay, so I went ahead and I put grease on our cardan shaft here. And we're going to go ahead and install this main drive shaft in here, and then put all the necessary clips and stuff back on it. Now, as I recall from Barry's video, now he installed the smaller shaft into the large one, so he had this already assembled the way it was, and then installed the cardan shaft from the back. As I recall, he said, do not turn the shaft as you put it together. I'm not sure why, but that was his belief. And so we slide that on there. It does slide pretty easy, really. A lot of grease. Don't think we need that much grease on there, so we'll take a little bit of that off. I did pull this, the cardan shaft, well, you can pull it forward, and so I pulled it out as far as I could get it to try to clean it off, because it was dirty. I mean, it was, kind of like dirty oil is what it was, kind of brown in color and all that. So I wanted to get that cleaned off a little bit before we reassemble the thing. And so we'll take this in, and we have to, and we'll pull that out. I didn't mean to do that, but we got to get a little bit of room here to get this snap ring opened up. I can get a hold of it. Which I can. These things twist on you. Makes it difficult to do anything with them. Plus everything wants to slide out on you. Okay, get that started on there. arching this one. Now this is where I wish I had the transmission in gear so that it would not move on me. Okay. Now this one, the first one is for the bearing up here. Basically it holds the shaft back in position so it's not moving, you know, back and forth on you. This next one is the stop drum, the band brake drum stop, and it fits into the front groove to hold the drum in place. And then the drum, oh, one thing I do want to do, put a little oil on there. I do want to put a little oil on it. This is 10 weight hydraulic oil. And we'll just kind of sprinkle that on there a little bit. And the reason is I just want stuff to slide a little easier. Now, it'll probably get oil on it. We've got our oiling system here. And so it'll probably get it on there, but we'll slide this on. And then we have the second snap ring. And this holds the drum in place. Can slide that back a little bit farther so that we can now move this one, the first one. We want to slide it on up. Boy, don't like these snap rings. They're argumentative, you know. They like to argue with you. Now this is where our drum goes, brake drum, the brake stop drum there. Boy. The snap rings aren't fun. The tool to operate snap rings is not fun. But you know, and the brake drum will go there. Now what we want to do, we want to try to manipulate that ring by loosening it and working it back and forth and getting it into its groove. Got to get its groove on, know what I mean? Like that. Now once it's in its slot, it'll turn freely. See, like that. So you know it's locked into its slot. You can now slide the drum up. We've got the other one here that fits in the back of the drum. You want to make sure you got your tool on the right side, because you're going to hit a brick wall here on this thing once you get it all the way up there. You won't be able to pull it out this way, in other words. So I know it's probably pretty hard to see what's going on here. Hell, it's hard for me to see what's going on here. And that one's locked in, it appears to be. Appears to be locked in there. Yeah, it moves. It slides in its groove, so it's locked in there. And then the last one, of course, it holds the muff coupling in place, and it'll fit in this groove. And once we have it in, boy, don't lose it, don't lose it. Come on. Come on. That doesn't matter with you. Man. These things twist, unfortunately. There we go. There we go. Now we get it lined up partially. Slide that in. Almost. I'm gonna give it a little wiggle here if I can get the that in there. Sure looks like it's in there. Okay. Now, we want to line up our muff coupling, and we can slide this on back. All the way. There we go. Now it should be possible. We have our groove up here, right there. It's possible to go ahead and put it in there. And a shot of oil, just so it'll make it more difficult to do anything. Be slippery, you understand. And come in here, we turn this around where we can get our clip on here. We're going to do this two different ways because I got to get it far enough away from that I can get a hold of it, like so. So now we'll come in this direction. Oops. Sure, all the way back. And it's locked in. So all of them are put back together in their respective grooves, which is good. One thing I do want to do, measure the band brake. Now the band brake lining is supposed to be 1/8 of an inch new, and when it's wore down halfway, then you replace it. Or maybe it's it must be 1/4 of an inch. Yeah, that's closer to 1/4, isn't it? Yeah, 230. So it must be 1/4 of an inch thick then. I was thinking it said 1/8 of an inch, but I was actually wrong. Now it's spinning freely. Our cardan shaft is not spinning, but it spins freely as well inside there. All right, so I would say that we now have this sealed in the end. We can put our band brake back on there. and put the pin in it, and that part of the project is done. We'll go ahead and put our plastic back over. I'm just using plastic trash bags to cover this up. It's got oil on it, so the plastic stick to it real well, and I don't get debris in there. It's fall, and we're getting a lot of leaves blowing around out here, and so I don't want all that stuff in our gearbox. So we'll put the pin back in our band brake there and move on to the next one.